Hello, scholars. Welcome back for part 2 of the 13th week of vocabulary lessons. We're going to jump right into our third word. The third word is prompt. Prompt. Have you heard that word before? Do you know what it means? Let's write the word and the definition in our notebook. Prompt. P-R-O-M-P-T. So it's an adjective, so it's a way to describe somebody or something. Someone who is prompt is always on time. Someone who is prompt is always on time. Great. Alright, so let's take a look at this word in a sentence to deepen our understanding of what it means. A prompt student is always in class when the bell rings. So if you're coming to class after the bell rings, that means you're late. So this student is always on time, which means that they are prompt. A student who is always on time is always in class when the bell rings. Okay. So let's use this word in action. We're going to number our paper 1 through 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to go across the paper because you're not going to use much space. If it's important to be prompt in this situation, you're going to give me a check. If it is not important to be prompt, you're going to give me an X. Okay? So number 1, if you have a doctor's appointment, is it important to be prompt if you have a doctor's appointment? Number 2, have to catch a plane for a trip. Is it important to be prompt if you have to catch a plane for a trip? Number 3, you wanted to see the beginning of a movie. Is it important to be prompt if you want to see the beginning of a movie? Number 4, could water the plants any time during the day. Is it important to be prompt if you can water the plants anytime during the day? And number 5, we're going to a school carnival that is going on all day long. Is it important to be prompt if you're going to a school carnival that is going on all day long? Let's go over the answers. Number 1, if you have a doctor's appointment, a doctor's appointment is set for a specific time, so it is important that you are prompt or on time. Number 2, catch a plane for a trip. That plane leaves at a very certain time, so you're not going to want to miss it. It is important to be prompt. It is important to be on time. Number 3, you wanted to see the beginning of a movie. If you went to the movies to see a movie, those movies start at a certain time, so I'm going to give that one a check as well. You want to be prompt. You want to be on time if you're going to the movies and want to see the beginning. Number 4, could water the plants anytime during the day. Well, if you can do it at any time, it's not important to be prompt. The time doesn't matter. You can water the plants early or later. Number 5, you're going to a school carnival that is going on all day long. Well, if you can go at any time, early or later, it's not important to be prompt or on time, unless maybe you're meeting a friend. All right, so now it's time for the writing statements, the sentences. Are you prompt going to school every day? Why is it important? What happens if you are not prompt getting to school? Feel free to pause the video while you answer these questions. If you need help, you can say I am, or you can say I am not. Prompt. Getting to school. Now, if you say I am prompt, that means you're on time. If you say I am not prompt getting to school, that means you're often late. Okay. It is important to be prompt because if I am not prompt, then. Okay. So again, you're telling me if you are or are not prompt. You're telling me why it's important to be prompt. And if you're not prompt, what happens? If you need more time, please pause the video, but I am moving on to the fourth word. The fourth word is quarrel. Quarrel. Have you heard that word before? Do you know what it means? Let's write the word and the definition in our notebook. Quarrel. Q-U-A-R-R-E-L. Quarrel. And quarrel is a verb. That means it's an action. It's something you do. If you quarrel with someone, you argue with words. If you quarrel with someone, comma, you argue with words. So quarrel is an argument, it's a disagreement, it's a heated discussion. You are going back and forth with words. All right, let's take a look at this word in a sentence to deepen our meaning. My brother and I usually get along, but sometimes we quarrel over our chores. Okay? So we can replace quarrel with argue or disagree. The speaker and their brother usually get along really well. They don't normally fight or argue, but they will argue over their chores. All right, so let's see if you can use this word in action. I want you to number your paper 1 through 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if it means about the same as quarrel, if it has almost the same meaning, you're going to give me a check. And if it does not mean the same, you're going to give me an X. Number 1, fight. Fight. Number 2, share. Share. Number 3, agree. Agree. Number 4, argue. Argue. And number 5, disagree. Disagree. All right, let's go over the answers. Number 1, fight. If you're fighting with words, not with your hands or your feet, but if you're fighting with words, to have a verbal fight with somebody, that would be a quarrel. That would be a check. Number 2, share. If you're sharing with somebody, that would be about the opposite almost. You're not arguing, you're not disagreeing, you are not quarreling if you are sharing. Number 3, agree. Agree is the opposite. When you quarrel, you're disagreeing and you are arguing or fighting with words. So number 3 would also be an X. You are not quarreling if you are in agreement. Number 4, argue. Argue means the same as quarrel or almost. Argue is even in our definition, so number 4 would be a check. And then number 5, disagree. Well, if you disagree, that means you do not agree, which means you are probably arguing or quarreling. So I will give a check for number 5. Disagree means about the same as quarrel. All right. Now the last thing we got to do is you got to tell about a time when you quarreled with somebody and how did it end. Remember, quarrel means to argue, to disagree, to fight with your words. So you're going to tell me about a time you quarreled with somebody and how it ended. If you need a sentence starter, you can use mine. Once I quarreled, ed for past tense, with, tell me who you quarreled with, who was it, because, in the end. Okay. So once I quarreled with a person because, give me a reason. In the end, tell me what happened. All right. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much again for joining me, and I will see you next time for Vocabulary Week 14.